So in 1967, Walter Cole opened Darcelle 15 Showplace on Northwest 3rd and Davis. It has remained open since then, even throughout many challenges, including the most recent pandemic. It's the longest running drag show on the West Coast. Walter Cole began at Darcelle's in 1967 and still performs as part of the company. And Walter holds the Guinness's World Record for the world's oldest performing drag queen. Last year, Darcelle 15 was listed in the National Register of Historic Places as one of only 2 drag cabarets to open prior to 1970 in the United States. So before we go forward with the proclamation to honor you, we want to give the floor over to you, Walter Cole, known by most as Darcelle. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Thank you. Good morning. What a nice time to call me. I'm just ready to talk to forever. You know, I'm the oldest performing drag queen in the world. We might add that.
Yeah.
Also, I hate to correct the MC, but you know, and also we are the longest running cabaret drag show in the United States, and still going strong. We got through the closers and opens and open and close, open and close. Now we have real people in the audience, and it's been exciting. And you know what? We have every night that I'm on the stage, and we have people from all over the world visiting Portland. I don't know if you know how many people come to Portland to do their bachelorette parties, to just be in Portland, Oregon, and I am very proud of that. I'm born in Portland, and 91 years ago, and here we are.
Thank you so much, Walter Cole and Darcelle. It's just
Darcelle, it's fine.
Today it's
call me Darcelle.
All right. It's great to have you here, and I know many of my colleagues would like to say a few words before we read the proclamation. The floor is open to the colleagues.
Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Ryan, for bringing this item forward. I'm delighted to join you in declaring November 16th, 2021 to be Darcelle Day here in Portland, Oregon. On Darcelle Day, we celebrate a Portland icon and institution. And of course, I speak of Walter Cole, who most Portlanders know as Darcelle. Darcelle is Walter's stage name. Like Darcelle, Walter Cole is a classic Portland character. Cole, as we heard, was born in 1930 and raised in Portland's Linton neighborhood. Cole is a veteran, worked at Fred Meyer's, and around 1969, Cole developed his alter ego, Darcelle. Cole has described his Darcelle persona as, quote, sequins on the eyelids, lots of feathers, big hair, big jewels, and lots of wisecracks. Over the past half century, Darcelle has become a beloved and iconic Portland character. Darcelle has served as Grand Marshal of the Portland Rose Festival Starlight Parade and received the city's Spirit of Portland Award. As we've heard, Guinness World Records has certified Darcelle as the oldest drag queen performer on the West Coast. Now, all of that is Darcelle, the person, and then there is also the Darcelle 15 Showplace, the nightclub built by Darcelle. As we've heard, around 1967, Cole purchased a tavern in Northwest Portland and renamed it the Darcelle 15 Showplace. A few years ago, Darcelle told the Oregonian about those first hours after taking over the building. Darcelle said, quote, I didn't have a 2-day plan. I walked in there and opened the door and wept and thought, what have I done? But that didn't last long. In fact, although that panic didn't last long, Darcelle's showcase sure did. Today, Darcelle's is Portland's oldest drag club and is home to the longest running drag show on the West Coast. In fact, recently, Darcelle's was placed on the National Register of Historic Places because of its important role in the LGBTQIA+ history. And of course, I think we should remember on Darcelle Day that this is more than just celebrating a beloved Portland character and institution. Darcelle Day is also about celebrating and embracing Portland's LGBTQIA plus community. On Darcelle Day, we recommit ourselves to making Portland an inclusive, welcoming, and safe city for all Portlanders, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Mr. Mayor, colleagues, for these reasons and more, I'm delighted to join you in declaring November 16, 2021 to be Darcelle Day here in Portland. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner
You
Rubio.
said that better. I could not have said that better.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioner Ryan, for bringing this great proclamation forward. And thank you so much to you, Darcelle, also known as Walter, for your incredible contributions to the city. We all can't imagine a Portland without Darcelle's. This
Thank you.
club is an institution in our community and has served as a place and a space for refuge, celebration, and community for decades. And the very fact of its presence and impact in our community has demonstrated to Portlanders across multiple generations that at Darcelle's, it's okay to bring and be your full selves and to bring your fun selves and to have a wonderful time in celebration together. And I count myself as one of among thousands of people over the years who've been lucky enough to celebrate a life event together with you and your cabaret. And Darcelle, thank you again for all you do for Portland's cultural ecosystem and vibrant community and for the LGBTQIA plus community in Portland. We're so fortunate for this very special part of history and culture that exists in our city. And we also all look forward to another 40 great more years of celebrations together at Darcelle. So congratulations,
At least.
but much deserved.
Thank you. Commissioner Hardesty.
That was fabulous, Commissioner Rubio. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan and Mayor Wheeler for bringing this proclamation forward. I think everything has been said except how big your heart is, Darcelle. It is clear that the person that you are is a person that cares deeply about Portland. You are committed to a thriving Portland where everyone is welcome and accepted with a smile. Your shows have for generations created joy. And I can't think of anything that Portland needs more now of than joy. And it's wonderful that you've been honored on a historic registry. I mean, how cool is that?
Cool.
It is very cool. But what's even cooler is to know that I know you as a human who is compassionate and you care about everyone. And I just want you to know that I want to celebrate the human today, the one with that big heart that cares passionately and brings joy wherever you go. I'm happy also to support this resolution.
Thank you, Don.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Yes, much has been said. I just want to add a couple personal anecdotes. As a high school kid in the late 70s, I'll never forget this. I was so surprised when my mom and her friend came home much later than usual. They were giggling with such joy in their hearts. And then they started reminiscing in the kitchen about their evening they had at a drag show called Darcelle. I was, again, living in North Portland with my mom. I was in my questioning years, my fear of being discovered years, if you will. But the hope that I had in my heart as I listened to my mom and her friend talk about their joyful evening at Darcelle is something I'll never forget. I fast forward over just this past decade where I've spent many memorable evenings at Darcelle's. And what I witness is people from rural Oregon, tourists from all over other cities in this country and internationally. And they're just buzzing with joy as they leave what you've created, which is a sanctuary. You, my friend Darcelle, you've lifted our city locally, nationally, internationally. You're truly at the top of the list as an ambassador of this city. And so along with so many, I have deep gratitude for your legacy and for your current action to help Portland be seen as the safe and joyful place it truly is. We see you, we need you, and we look forward to celebrating you today and for many, many more years. You represent the heart and the soul of my hometown. And I know your angel, Roxy, is holding you at this very moment. So with much gratitude and love, I salute you, Darcelle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. And before I read the proclamation, Darcelle, I want to thank you and I want to thank the LGBTQ community at large for their contributions to this proclamation. Now, I have a reputation as being somewhat boring, which is probably a good thing for an elected official. But Darcelle, I believe I'm still the only mayor in the history of this city to put $1 in your chaps. And so that's a record that I'm also proud of. I also want to thank
I
Commissioner
still have
Ryan.
$1.
I want to thank Commissioner Ryan and his staff for taking the lead on bringing this forward. And now I will read the proclamation on behalf of the entire City Council. Whereas the presence and visibility of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, two-spirited, and other sexual and gender minority communities is vital to the quality of life of all residents and visitors alike in the city of Portland, a city of bridges that's known as a safe harbor and home for this community. And whereas the city of Portland is committed to diversity, social justice, equity, and mutual respect as a fundamental aspect of a healthy community. And whereas Darcelle 15's Showplace opened on Northwest 3rd and Davis in 1967, making it Portland's oldest drag club and home to the longest running drag show on the West Coast. And whereas Darcelle 15 was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 2020 as the Showplace is one of the only 2 known drag cabarets to open prior to 1970 in the entire United States. And whereas Darcelle's owner, Walter W. Cole, who performed and is still performing as part of the company, holds the Guinness World Record as the world's oldest performing drag queen. And whereas Walter W. Cole's visionary dream has captured the spirit of Portland and woven Darcelle's into the fabric of our city. And whereas that long and ongoing struggle of the LGBTQIA2S+ communities for basic civil and human rights continues to provide inspiration to all who work against discrimination and oppression. And whereas now more than ever, we must not overlook the LGBTQIA2S+ community, nor allow them to be invisible during physical and social distancing measures and attacks on their rights across the country. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, City of Roses, do hereby proclaim November 16th of 2021 to be Darcelle Day in Portland and encourage all residents to observe this day. Thank you, Darcelle, for all that you
Thank you.
have
Thank you,
done.
Mayor. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you so much, and I deeply appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
Okay.